will tell you this story because it's kind of funny. There it is right in the background. See it over there? So I get the guitar because somebody said, why don't you go buy yourself a guitar for Christmas? And so I had a dream about playing with Colton McKenna, and he gives me his guitar, and it's a Yamaha. And I'm going like, oh, it's a beautiful Yamaha. And so I go walking down to the nursery store, see if I could buy get a poinsettia plant at discount price on Christmas Eve, right? I walk past and there's this little musical instrument repair shop. And I look at it and I go down to the nursery, and the nursery was like, we're all sold out of poinsettias, but we're going to have a nice sale on some other plants right around New Year's. So why don't you come back? So I'm walking back, and I decided to stick my head into that little music repair shop. And there was a nice gentleman there behind the counter working on something, probably repairing a musical instrument. Don't say I'm not a detective. So he's working on a musical instrument and repairing it, I'm sure. And so he's repairing the musical instrument, and I said, I'm looking for buy a guitar, acoustic guitar, under $400. And I ended up telling him it's for a drummer. Me, he goes like, oh, I'm a drummer too. He says, yeah, well, that's how I play guitar, like I'm a drummer. But I don't want to change because I have so much fun doing it. I'll let everybody else have lessons. I just sit down and play. So anyway, I ended up with the guitar. And I'm sitting here this afternoon playing the guitar to this open window. And this house doesn't have a porch. I've always believed that man-made houses, but God made porches. Or maybe man-made houses and women-made porches. They kick that fucking man out and get on the porch. But I like porches. I always have. This house doesn't have a porch, but I've looked at it, and it used to be a smaller house than it is now. It's a two-bedroom house. But to make it a two-bedroom house, they had the porch, and they extended the roof, and they made the porch part of the house. So what I like is I've raised my curtains up here and sit on my porch inside the house. So I'm sitting here playing guitar this afternoon. Since I've got this guitar, I promised myself I'm going to play it for 4 hours a day. And so far I've been doing it. And usually at 2-hour sprints. And this morning I played it, and this afternoon I was playing it. I'll probably play it a little bit. And I put it down, I sat up, and I looked across through the window. I looked out there across the street, and it looked like one of those sleds for snow sleds, for kids, for people, big kids. And it looked like in great fucking condition. And it was out next door at the end of my neighbor's drive across the street. I know my neighbor a little bit. No, I don't. I never met my neighbor. And I wanted to run out. I know the tradition is you put that out there, that's come get it. But it was like, I wanted it so much. And I was like, holy crap. And the funny thing about it, last night I was like, I watched a show on YouTube about the making of Citizen Kane, greatest movie ever, Citizen Kane. And the making of it, and the whole, Rosebud, the sled, and the whole point of he went after the whole world and he lost what he loved. And don't ever don't ever lose what you love. Don't ever lose what you love. And it was the sled. It was playing a kid, just playing, having fun, playing. And there was the Rosebud. I was really, I'm taking the step out, and we're underway in the first little wee steps of producing this film. I bought the building the stuff for my end of the studio. An editing suite, a big console. I bought the Mac stereo, Apple's Mac studio for doing the film and the whole thing, and the microphone and the camera and the lights to go do the interviews and all that. And all of that's what I have to do to be able to have my tools to work. It's come together. I've got the house here moved into, but I'm always asking the creator for signs. And I thought the sled was, but it wasn't mine. So I put on my shoes and I didn't know this guy. He lives across the street. A beautiful house. I've always admired his house. It's a brick house. It's got huge ass pine trees that go to the sky. It's got huge oak trees. It's got it's like a 1950s brick ranch house, Avondale style. And it's like a garden. The place is just right across the street from me. And right across the street in Avondale, streets, except for the main streets are kind of like alleyways almost. There's no sidewalks. People walk up and down the street in strollers and wagons and skateboards and all that stuff, jogging and everything. And there's more people walk by and stroll by and are in strollers by my front door every day. There's twice as many as there are cars. So I'm all in on doing the film, but I'm always asking for the creator to come on, don't let me be scared out here. I'm on the tightrope now. Come on, here we go. And so me seeing that was like, oh great, that's a sign. And I went over there and he was mowing his lawn, this guy. And I have to respect a guy that mows his lawn and does all his yard work and all this stuff. And he's got an Audi in the driveway. He's got a small Honda in the driveway. And he's got an SUV, Cadillac SUV. Very classy stuff and everything. And if a man thinks well of himself to have those kind of cars, he usually has somebody else mow his lawn for him. But he's out there mowing his lawn for himself and all that stuff, because there's great pleasure to be taken from doing that stuff, by the way. And so I walk and I stand at the end of his driveway by it. I'm not going to pick it up and grab it, because even though that's a tradition, if he were to look up and see me and looking like me going away from his house with that in his hand toward my house without never even fucking said hello. So he kept mowing his yard for about an hour, and he never stopped his mower. And I was going to try to make eye contact, wasn't going to wave. If he wanted to look over there and see me and stand at the driveway, that I'd look at him, then I'd already said, I was going to say, I beg your pardon, sir, could I ask you about your sled? And let me introduce myself. I'm Casey Lyden. I'm your neighbor across the street. I've been renting the place for a year. We ended up talking for a little bit, a lot. We had a lot of things in common. The guy's from Nashville, Tennessee. It seems like he's retired. He bought this place. He's fixing the fuck of it up. He's got 3 kids. Him and his wife live there. They've got one kid who goes to college and lives at home but goes to college, and two kids, I think they're out in the bushes and making money or something. So he gives me the rosebud, the thing, and I've got some pictures. It's immaculate. It's immaculate. It's $500 on Amazon. I haven't looked it up. I'm not that callous. I don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm not going to sell it. It's here. It's my rosebud. It's my rosebud. But here's the funny thing. I've got the equipment in. I've got the hardware in. I've got the big editing monitor. I'm still looking for the right camera, the right microphone, the right lighting. But the one thing I know I've got to put my hand on right now is the editing software, the software to edit a film, to produce a film and edit, and do all that stuff you have to do a film. And I found one that it's like $380. Now, the total picture and everything, $380 isn't that much money. But the whole project has to be, are you sure? You measure 3 times and cut once. Measure twice, cut once. Measure 3 times. Make sure that we're getting the right equipment, the right technology, that we can operate it. And it's not a case where we buy something and we got cheap and we didn't buy enough and we ended up wasting that $380. So I'm reading all about this program. It's called Adobe Premiere Pro editing package. It's $380 per year. You don't own it. My son is a filmmaker in Los Angeles, and he uses this, and this is what he recommended. Actually, he didn't recommend it. His wife told me this is what he uses. And I told him today that I'm getting ready to buy it. I wanted him to tell me, oh no. Well, all he said was, that's fantastic. And my idea is, first off, I heard this real good. Secondly, my son makes a living on using that equipment. So if I can get him up and go like, walk me through that, help me through that, all that kind of stuff. I got a born on technical director, particularly for that answer. But still, I was like, I still haven't made the dial him up and punch my number in and bought it. And I'm talking to this guy. His name is Tommy. He goes, name's Tommy. Call me Tommy. I like a guy named Tommy. The guy's like about 6'1". Looks like he might go to the gym once a week. Looks like he rides on a bike in the house because he gets other shit done. He doesn't look like a lazy guy. He's not skinny, but he ain't got no fat on him. And I was telling him about, why I'm here, and I'm here because I needed to get grounded. There's probably no place more on earth that I have more of my tears in the ground and more of my laughter in the trees than this neighborhood of Avondale, where I was a baby as an infant, where I was a school child, where I was a high schooler, Leonard Skinner, practiced in a garage, my grandmother's garage for 1 week with Leonard Skinner back when they were still just, they didn't even know if they hardly had a band. And all that kind of stuff. I raised my boys here. My firstborn son was born here. I was here when I was a college student. I've been here so many times. I'm here so much at this place. I've coached soccer at the little field right up here. So I wanted to be someplace right as possible as I could be to get this film done. about Standing Rock. It's about the biggest, most important event of North American indigenous people since before 1492. Bingo, that's correct. And I was there for 20 days. I'm not going to tell the story how I got there. I'm going to tell the story of what happened after I left there. I'm going to tell the story of what happened on those 20 days, November 16th through December 5th. And it's going to be my 20 days, 21-hour episodes. I'm going to lean heavily on the cameras and videos and everything taken by the Lakota allies on the ground in North Dakota all those 20 days and nights. And then talk a little bit about my experience, but then talk to the people who shot the film, shot that, and talk about what was going on from the whole overall perspective to down to cutting wood in the camps. And just follow that through those 20 days. And of course, we know that those 20 days were probably, if you had to go, like you have to pick 20 days and slide that somewhere in the calendar to capture Backwater Bridge, the first two blizzards, then the proclamation executive directive by Obama shutting down the pipeline for a further review, the arrival of Veterans for Peace. Those were some big times, including Backwater Bridge. And we're going to use all the pictures are going to be from phones, and then of course digital smoke signals covered the program pretty good. And we're going to talk with Myron Dewey's estate, and it'd be nice to each of those days wrap in to the adventures of everybody this daily report and hourly coverage for Myron. And then try to tie the whole thing into something special. They can honor the Lakota. They can honor my ancestors, honor my children, honor your ancestors, and honor your children. The guy tells me, well, that my editing equipment that I use is Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm a television and film man. One of the things I do. My neighbor announced that to me. Oh man, I'm loving life. I wake up every morning and I used to think my job every morning was to get down on my hands and knees, get a piece of paper and a pencil and write a prayer list and deliver it right up to God, getting them started right early in the morning. And I think more and more is this kind of like that attitude is kind of thinking you're so smart that like Jesus is sitting around with no worm at the end of his bobber. And you're just going like, looking out the window and going, oh shit, everything's fucked up. I need to give Jesus a go-to list, a get-to-done list. But I just wake up every morning and I put my shoes out there and says, there they are, Lord, go take a walk around my shoes. Make everybody think Casey's Jesus. So I don't have any plans. I'm a homeless man in my home. I ain't got a job and I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I don't have an answer. And I'm listening. I'm listening. I told you Merry Christmas. I told you Winter Solstice. Yippee! And Happy New Year. I guess that's sign for Happy New Year. I doubt it. God forgive me. I love you always and forever. Oh, oh.